again, I'm Ramona J. Smith, and this is all about releasing the bags, right? Releasing the bags. So I like to do a little karaoke. Anybody else like karaoke? I love a little karaoke. What is the first song you think about when you hear the word bag?
Bag lady.
Boom! Let's do a little bit of bag lady. Y'all gonna do a little bag lady with me?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna do a little clap. Y'all ready? We got rhythm. It's so different than our other brothers and sisters. Bag lady, you gon' hurt your bag. Dragging all those bags like that. I guess nobody ever told you. I guess nobody ever told you. All you must hold on to. All you must hold on to is who? Is you. Is you. Is you. One day, all them bags gon' get in your way. I said one day, all them bags gon' get in your way. You said one day, all them bags gon' get in your way. You say one day, all them bags gon' get in your way. So what? So what? So act like Y'all sound very good. So for us to familiarize ourselves with one another so that we're not strangers after I leave here, if you have your phone and you're on social media, you want to follow me on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, you can do that right now. It is going to be Ramona J. Smith. Everything is going to be Ramona J. Smith. So go ahead, take out your phones. I know they're nearby. So it's R-A-M-O-N-A, the letter J, and then Smith. So whatever platform you're most familiar with, whatever platform you use the most, you can follow me on that. How many of y'all do Instagram primarily? Say I.
I.
Facebook? Say I.
I.
YouTube?
I.
LinkedIn?
I.
Anybody fasting from social media?
No.
One. Okay. All right. Well, you can email me, girl. Email me. I speak at RamonaJSmith.com. So today I just want to talk about three things. I want to talk about how we familiarize ourselves with what's going on, how we get ourselves through the goings on, and how we sustain the goings on. And that means releasing the bags. So how do we release the bags? How do we understand what's going on while we're releasing the bags, and how do we keep the bags down? How do we keep them down? Because we don't want to keep picking them up and putting them down, picking them up and putting them down. So the first thing is awareness, right? Are you aware of the bags that you are carrying? Since this is more intimate, we can yell them out. What are some of the bags that you feel like you may be carrying? Just yell it out. Childhood trauma? Absolutely. What else? Grief, yes, that's a big one. What else? Disappointment. Anger. Guilt, fear. Absolutely. What else? Depression, that's a big one for us. Self-worth. So the awareness part of it. Because I was watching a special on Good Morning America about black women and depression, and we have a lot of it, but we don't get any help for it. We have a lot of it, but we misconstrue the symptoms of what depression really is. Depression is not just you in the bed all day sad, didn't get up, didn't take a shower. Depression can come out with frustration. Depression comes out with not sleeping. Depression comes out with bitterness and being triggered easily. You can be depressed and you can be angry and yell at your kids. Or you can snap, you can find yourself snapping over little things because there's so much going on inside of you that you haven't dealt with. I think the statistic was 57% of black women have depression, but only 12% get treated for depression. The thing about us as black women is strength. We want to be strong black women. You are looked up to if you are a strong black woman. So instead of dealing with the issues, we push through. We keep going. My mom has been through so much, and I won't share her story because she's not here, but she said that the reason why she kept pushing through after abuse, the reason why she kept pushing through after grief, the reason why she kept pushing through after all of this trauma was because she felt like she was so messed up that if she started crying, she could never stop. And she never cried in front of us when we were kids because she was holding in so much stuff. You know, her mom had passed away and she was a teen mom. And my dad wasn't really in the picture, but she just said, I just kept working. I just kept working. So when we had to have those difficult conversations, when my sister and I got older, she was a little bit upset. Well, Mom, why didn't you ever come to my cheerleading competitions? Mom, why didn't you ever come to my sister's softball games? She would get offended. What? Why are you asking me about softball games? And why are you talking about all the places that I've never been? And she started to get defensive because she was like, I provided for you. When your daddy wasn't there, I was there. I had to be mommy and daddy. I had to deal with all the stuff I was dealing with and still keep a roof over your head. Why are you upset? And it's because as Black women, we are told to be providers instead of nurturers, especially when we don't have the dads in the situation. We have to step into so many different roles and play so many different parts that we lose the essence of our femininity and all the stuff that we're dealing with. So when you talk about awareness of depression, the first thing is acknowledging that it's there. When you talk about releasing the bags, if you feel like there are no bags, then there's nothing to release. So how often are you really sitting down with yourself and saying something is wrong? When was the last time you sat down and said, hey, something ain't right? Anyone? Has it been recently?
Yesterday.
Go for it. Oh, yesterday, good. And what did that look like, if you want to share?
What did it look like?
Yes.
Trying to figure out what it is I need to do so that I get out of that.
Did you do anything else? Did you journal? Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna read and also music.
Journal, reading, and music. Absolutely. So the first thing is, just like with anything, admitting that something ain't right. It's admitting that something isn't right. And just as you said, the second thing is learning how to figure out, what do I do with this? Now that I have it, I acknowledge it. As my godfather from Alabama would say, get to the root. Once I've gotten to the root of it, now what do I do with all this? So one easy thing, because therapy is very expensive. Absolutely, we know therapy is expensive, but that is a way. And not therapy as in talking to your girlfriends and we just unloading our bags on each other, we just exchanging bags. But therapy as in talking to a professional who's licensed to do that. But if you can't do that for some reason, because you don't have access, you don't have therapists who look like you available, or you just don't have the funds, journaling. Journaling. How many of us journal on a regular basis? It is so therapeutic to just write it down, and that's one way to release journaling. So that's one of your homework assignments. If you do not have a journal to write it down, I'm not talking about type it out on your phone. It's a different energy when it comes out of your brain and it flows down your arm and it goes on from pen to pad. It's a different energy. A different way to release is for you to get a journal. You can get a $1 notebook. Everything's on sale right now with school supplies. A $1 notebook from Walgreens or Walmart, and start to journal at least once a week. Can y'all promise me y'all gonna do that if you don't already? Yes? Okay.
I thought about it. I need to.
Right.
I know people that actually journal, but I never just thought about doing it myself. But the last year or so, I've thought about that because I've had some trauma and passing and different things in my life also. So most people that I've spoken with about that say it is very therapeutic. So I'm looking into that.
Good. You should. You absolutely should. Everybody in here, if you don't have a journal already, your homework assignment is to get one and journal once a week. I know we don't have time to do it every day. I know we don't have time to do it for hours and hours and hours, but once every week, and just prompt yourself. Just ask yourself the question, how do I feel? Another good question is, do I feel at home in my body? Do I feel, and I just journaled about that the other day because things have changed in the past 10 years. I mean, I know I'm slim in this waist trainer tucking it in, but my weight for years was 125. When I look on the scale, it don't say that no more. I'm not gonna tell y'all what it says now. But things change. So that's one prompt for you. Do you feel at home in your body? And depression and dis-ease go hand in hand. So when you are depressed, it is affecting your body. It is affecting your physical body. How many of you know what metabolic syndrome is?
I've heard of it.
Yes, it's just a conglomerate of all the bad stuff that black women deal with their health. It's diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. So high blood sugar, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure. So your sugar and your salt and all the extra weight that we're carrying, because depression, it sits on you. It sits on you. And depression can also take away from you. You ever been sick or upset and you start to lose weight? They call it dis-ease for a reason. That means your body is going through something that is making it reject itself. So when you start to deal with these bags and you think about the bags that you're carrying, how many of y'all have ever asked the little 8-year-old boys to go get the groceries out the car? Say you just came back from H-E-B, that's my favorite store. You go to H-E-B, you got maybe a bunch of bags in the trunk. The little boy is going to want to prove his manhood, right? He going to open that trunk and slide all the bags of each arm and be carrying it like this. That's how a bunch of us are with the bags in our lives. And we never put them down, and we never address them, and they constantly feed into the negativity that's in our lives. It's a constant thing because we never have these conversations, because all of us want everything to look good on the outside, right? We don't want people to think anything is wrong. We don't want people to think that we're less than. We don't want people to see that we don't value ourselves the way we need to. We don't want people to look down on us. We've seen a lot of nice cars out there. We've seen a lot of nice cars out there, some BMWs, some Cadillacs, some Porsches. And sometimes we get these things to overcompensate for the things that we lack within ourselves. If I drive a BMW, they're not gonna know I'm depressed. If I drive a Cadillac, they're not gonna know that I'm dealing with some issues. Nobody's gonna ask me any questions. Nobody's gonna say anything to me. They're gonna look at me for the things on the outside. It allows me to bury the things on the inside. So what we have to do as black women is start being honest with ourselves, about ourselves, to ourselves, because it's going to start within you. It's going to start within you. It starts from within. Would you agree?
Yes.
So what do I mean when I say it starts from within? What does that mean? Mine. What did you say?
You being honest with yourself.
You being honest with yourself, right? And the first step to being honest with yourself is writing it down in that journal and making sure nobody else can see it or look at it, but really being raw about what it is that's going on with you. And do you know what's going on with you? Do you know? When was the last time you got a doctor's checkup? Do you know how high your blood sugar is? Do you know how high your blood pressure is? Because for most of us in here, if not all of us, all that stuff is in our families. Grandma had diabetes. Auntie them got diabetes. Auntie them had to get a mastectomy. So we have to really start being honest with ourselves, because if you can't be honest with yourself, you're not going to be able to move forward. So the first thing is awareness. And then the second thing is understanding what to do now that you know what you know. So now that you know, what you gonna do about it? It's not just, all right, I'm depressed, y'all, hey. All right, I'm angry. All right, I'm overweight. Now what? Because now we have to be empowered in the things that we know. That knowledge is the power. So now that you have the power and the knowledge to deal with what you're gonna do, what's the plan of action? So now that you know you're dealing with guilt and frustration and anger and sadness and bitterness and trauma and all those things, what are you going to do to fix it? What's the plan?
I pray.
Prayer helps. Prayer helps a lot. Forgive. Ooh, that's a good one. Forgive.
Exercise.
Say that again.
Exercise.
Y'all heard what she said? Exercise. What else?
Change the way you do things. You know, go about making the effort to change what you was doing.
Right.
Like exercising and your thought pattern, changing your way of thinking so that you could.
So changing the way you do things, changing your lifestyle, changing your mindset, changing your attitude. But how do we do that?
One step at a time. Being
Right.
real with yourself.
Right. One step at a time.
It's a choice. You have to make a decision.
You have to make a decision. You have to make a
How you want
choice.
to do it. Yeah.
What else? See, and a lot of these are amazing, but a lot of these are still surface. So I can say pray, I can say exercise, I can do things about, I can say I want to change things, but how?
Counseling.
That helps as well. Counseling, therapy, what else?
I mean, it's a mindset.
Right. So how do we change our mindset?
Start doing things differently.
How?
Just
Surround yourself with positivity.
Right. Surround yourself with positivity. Yes, what else?
You have to purposely do things for at least 30 days before they become a habit.
Mhm.
So every day make it mindful that you do that thing at that specific time and day. It'll help you to change that blueprint of what we had been doing wrong.
Right. Okay. So let's do something together now. So when you think about your top 3 bags, I want you to think about your top 3 bags. If you have paper, I want you to write it down. If you don't, I want you to grab your phone and jot it in your notes or in a text message. Think about your top 3 bags. The things that you're carrying, the things that are bothering you, the things that you're unhappy with, the things that you feel like you cannot shake. For me, for many years, it was education. When the first time I went to college, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea why, so I ended up dropping out. The second time I went to school, I thought I had it figured out, but I chose to work instead of go to school. The third time, I was like, I'm trying to get it right. I had a coach, but then I moved back home and I was just like, forget about it. The fourth time, I had my son. And that's where my mindset shift came. After dropping out of college 4 times, I was like, I can't do it again. Because my mindset had changed, because now I have this little person who's looking at everything that I'm doing, and if I keep dropping out of college, what do you think my son is gonna think? It's okay to drop out. My mom doesn't commit. My mom doesn't follow through. So I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do to drop this bag of being non-committal and to drop this bag of breaking promises to myself. I'm going to do it. So what did I do? Surround myself with positive people. When I went back to college for that next time, I had an academic coach. I was meeting with a counselor. I had to do a weekly action plan. I needed some people around me to hold me accountable, right? Because it's easy to set a goal. It's easy to say I'm gonna exercise 3 times a week, but nobody's holding you accountable saying, hey sis, did you exercise this week? Nobody's saying, hey, where's your chart? Where's the tracking? Where's the proof? So like you said, surrounding yourself with positive people, and I had that group of support, and I was able to graduate at 30, magna cum laude, after dropping out of college 4 times. So that's one way. Oh, we can clap that now. So that was one of my bags. So what happened, just like you said, I had to change my mindset, surround myself with positive people, but I had to take action. I wasn't gonna cross that stage just by praying every day. I wasn't gonna cross that stage just by journaling every day. I had to put some action behind my plan. So that was one of my bags. So write down your top 3 bags that you've been thinking about letting go of, or that you've been holding on to for safety and security. One of my second bags was, relationships. Relationships. And this is a smaller group, so I can be transparent. I've been married and divorced 2 times. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you. Somebody who understands. So when you get married and divorced, the first one didn't last a year. Woo! You get married and divorced again. The second one didn't last 2 years. Woo! You would think love just ain't for me, right? Or maybe I'm doing something wrong. Or do I really want to get in another relationship just for people to be like, he ain't gonna last, or it's just gonna be another failed marriage. It takes a lot of gumption, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of strength. So what I had to do was look deep into myself to say, hey, why do you keep getting married and divorced? Why? What is the reason? 1, rushing. So my second bag was love and relationships, rushing. My dad passed away in 2015, so I couldn't blame him anymore. Dad, you weren't there for me. That's why I'm bad with men. He did. You can't blame him no more. Well, my mother was promiscuous. So she's 57, you're 37. You gonna blame your mama in your 40s? No, you gotta go within. What's wrong with you? It ain't every man, because you the least common denominator. It ain't him, and it ain't him, it's you, sis. So I had to go deep within myself and figure out, why do I keep doing this? And like I said, the first thing was rushing, because I had what's called an anxious attachment style in relationships. And if you've never heard of your attachment style in relationships, I strongly suggest you look it up. It's called attachment styles. There's avoidant, anxious, and secure. And I think a couple of blends and mixtures of both. But I have what's called an anxious attachment style in relationships. And he's my witness. But I'm working on it. So I had to go deeper. You know, I had to really get to the root of the problem. Otherwise, I'm going to keep doing this and be married like Liz Taylor. How many times she was married? 11 times? 7? And we don't want to go that route. Right. We don't want to go that route. And then finally, my third bag was my speaking. My speaking. How many of y'all have a passion or something that you want to do and it just chases you down and you know that's your purpose? Yes? Yes. So a lot of times we don't feel worthy enough to do that. We don't feel worthy enough to build our businesses. We don't feel worthy enough to charge our fee for our products and services. We don't feel worthy enough to walk in what we know God told us to do. So for many years, I was running away from this speaking. I was running away. When I moved to Houston, I'm like, I'm gonna be a teacher because teachers have a salary and teachers are changing the world. And God said, no, you ain't. But I tried it though. How many of y'all are running? How many of y'all are running from what you know, what God, I see a hand, I ain't gonna look at you, are running from what you know God is telling you to do.
Yes, yes.
But in my case, it kept chasing me down. So I came to Houston, I finally got my degree, I came to Houston, and I'm like, I'm gonna teach for 5 years, and then I'm gonna go after my dream. And God said, no, you're wrong. So in 2018, when I became the world champion, okay, God, I hear you. so speak. So that was another one of my bags. Self-worth and business. I didn't consider myself a leader. I didn't consider myself a business owner. I didn't consider myself an entrepreneur. I just thought I was good at speaking. But God said, nah, I'm gonna thrust you in front of the world.
Yeah.
And I took advantage of it. And I'm still learning, of course, but I'm saying that bag of limiting beliefs, that bag of limiting beliefs. Because who are you? Little girl from the ghetto, who ain't have a dad, who mom was doing whatever she wanted to do, who didn't graduate from college till you was 30. Who do you think you are? Well, I know now because of the work that I've been putting in. Yeah. So with those 3 bags, let's take one. Let's take one and let's create a plan. Does anybody want to be the example so we can create like a strategic plan around that one bag? Let's do it, sis.
Unhealthy relationships.
Unhealthy relationships. Is that with
In general.
In general? Okay. Can we tighten it up just a little bit so we can niche down?
When you know that the relationship is unhealthy, but I'm a fixer.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have unhealthy relationships because I'm a fixer.
Okay. All right.
I pick those people around.
Right. So let's start there. So one of her bags is unhealthy relationships because she is a fixer. So you see, and my mom is that way too. You see something that's wrong with someone and you like, no, I can help you. I can fix you. I can change you.
Yes.
I can pour into you. I know that, and maybe you feel empathy towards that person. I've been there. I want to help you out. Okay, so the first thing she already did is she acknowledged it. Okay, one reason why I have unhealthy relationships is because I like to fix people. It makes me feel good to know that I help someone. But usually, do you end up getting used up or burned out or overworked and underappreciated? Okay, so the first thing we have to do with that one, and you know what? Let's make this a group activity. After we become aware of it, we know what the bag is. What do we do next? Now what do we do after we've acknowledged it and we know what it is?
Start to
You're
work
supposed
on
to
it.
take action, right?
Right, start to take action. What does that look like? What's the first thing I should do if I want to start working on that?
Oh, the relationship thing.
Write it down.
Do
Okay.
self-reflection and just
Write it down,
not be,
self-reflection.
not be in a relationship for a while until you just figure out why I have a pattern. Why am I doing the same thing?
So identify the patterns.
Yes.
Identify the patterns. So I would give her a writing assignment to write down in the past maybe 3 years, what are those relationships that were unsuccessful and what are those relationships that she wanted to fix, right? Because a lot of times we repeat old habits because we don't see the pattern. We don't go back and, like you said, self-reflect and say, all right, you've been married once, that didn't work. You've been married twice, that didn't work. What's the problem, right? So step 1 in that same awareness phase is identifying your patterns, right? So identifying the patterns, taking some time to write that down. Once you identify the patterns, now what? What's next? See, this is where we get stuck.
Yes.
This is where we get stuck because it sounds good. We just change our ways. We just transform. We just ask God to take it away. No, this is the difference between people who have the language and vocabulary to identify what's wrong so they can target it and fix it, to people who we just wash over, we just move around it. So this is the part where we really have to put some thought into it. We can use Google, we can use GPT. We have to really identify what it is so that we can start to eliminate it, right? So after you identify the patterns, what actions should we take next to avoid going down that same road? This is the part where we have to think a little harder.
Maybe figure out our triggers, like what attracts me to that person that I want to pick.
That's good. Figure out your triggers. What is it that attracts you to these people? What is it? Is it because it feels good? Is it like a high when you want to help someone? Is it the fact that maybe you want to be put on a pedestal? You know, walk us through it. Like, do you want to share?
I guess that's just me. Like if I see somebody, not really personal, intimate relationship, more or less family relationships, friendships. That's the unhealthy relationships. Like I have a certain expectation to be the fixer,
Right.
Because she's been through it. She's the strong one in the family. She got it. She don't need no help. You know. So now I feel obligated to. What's the word I'm looking for? To enable these unhealthy relationships because I'm the fixer.
Right.
I'm the strong one.
So nobody use the word that I'm going to say. When everybody feels like they have access to you, when everybody feels like you're the one that they're going to call on, when everybody feels like, no, I'm calling you my therapist. What is that word that I'm looking for?
No.
She has no. That's a no. But what is a word that I'm looking for? Starts with a B. Boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
One way for you to eliminate all that is to create boundaries for yourself. What am I going to tolerate? What am I not going to tolerate? So are you going to tolerate somebody calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning when they just broke up with their man that you know they're going to get back with in 2 weeks? Are you right?
Yeah.
Are you going to accept the fact that somebody knocking on your door saying, I need a place to stay?
No.
Are you going to accept people asking you for money all the time because they blew their rent and their car note at the casino? So you have to create boundaries for yourself. That's why it's so important for us to write it down, because we'll forget. So write down the boundaries, put them on your bathroom wall, put them on your bedroom mirror so that you can keep reminding yourself that I'm not going to deal with these things. I'm not going to deal with these things. And they have to be non-negotiable. So create those boundaries for yourself and hold yourself to those boundaries. And then you need an accountability team.
Yeah.
But how do you do the boundaries when it's your family? It's your
That's
mother,
right.
it's your father.
Yeah.
They can call you when you're going through right at that moment, and I don't care how you try to explain to them. You've got to step up and do whatever it is they're asking you to do.
So that's you being true to you. That's you having to have tough conversations. That's you saying, I can deal with this, but I can't deal with that. So it's going to take for you it's going to be uncomfortable because people are used to doing it. And this is our culture. But if it's driving you crazy, I know some people it's driving them crazy to the point where their hair is falling out, to the point where they can't sleep, to the point where they can barely focus on anything because your mind is inundated with all these things from all these other people. So is it going to be you or them?
Yeah.
That's the choice that you have to make. And it's a tough decision. I'm not one of those people that say cut everybody off. Just don't talk to people. I was talking to one of my cousins last night. And she started to man bash, basically. Man bash and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this. I said, hey cousin, you know what? I gotta go finish dinner. I'll call you later. Boop. I wasn't rude, I wasn't stank, but once she started saying stuff that I was uncomfortable with and I didn't like, I ended the conversation. So it's gonna be uncomfortable and it's gonna take step by step by step, but you gotta start somewhere or it's gonna be you or them. And if you choose them, it's gonna be the same patterns over and over. But if you slowly start to choose yourself, then you'll start to be empowered every single time you say no. I know it's not easy. So, writing down, becoming aware of what it is. 2, identifying the patterns. Why do you keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again? If you really go back through whatever bag you have, if you really go back through and really write down everything honestly, you're gonna start to see a pattern. I keep getting divorced because I'm marrying people without knowing them for a year. I keep getting divorced because I don't do premarital counseling. So you start to identify your patterns. And then you start to create boundaries for yourself in this situation. You start to create boundaries for yourself. What am I gonna accept? What am I not gonna accept? And then the third thing is you need to do some research on what this really is so that you have the vocabulary to identify exactly what it is. So for example, my anxious attachment style. I didn't know what the heck that was 2-3 years ago. I didn't know what that was. I just thought I'm clingy. I just like to be in a relationship. No, baby, you got anxious attachment style. What does that mean? What does that look like? What are the symptoms of it? What is he gonna have to deal with when I'm coming into a relationship and I'm attached, my attachment style is anxious and his is avoidant? What does that even mean? What's his triggers? What's my triggers? So really do some research about what it is that you're dealing with. So when you talk about being the fixer, ask Google, what does that mean to be a fixer in relationships? And really do some research and identify it, yes.
He said he had to deal with that with you?
Yes.
Which part? I mean, did he?
Okay, I'll be transparent. How we doing?
I'm trying to see if I'm one of them parts.
718.
Okay, so with anxious attachment, I get very clingy. I am in my feelings all the time. All the time. And he, on the other hand, is a thinker. He's logical. If 1 + 1 ain't 2, it don't make sense. In my mind, if 1 + 1 feels like blue, then it's blue. So what happened the other day, babe? Can I use an example?
I don't remember, but yeah.
I'm trying to think, because we just went through this the other day, and I had to do some research about myself. Remember, I sent you the 13-minute video. No, because I can't. Sometimes I can't. If I'm a feeler, I don't have the words to explain to him. So the lady, baby, she laid it out. I stayed. You watch this. She gonna tell you all about me. I'm trying to figure it out. It was a situation where I was in my feelings about something, and he was like, "That doesn't make any sense." What?
Oh, when I was filming, I guess you must have felt some type of way that I got them kolaches. I ain't come all the way back to the house to bring you some.
The kolaches. Right. So I be in my feelings a lot, and so this is a great moment for all of us because it's a trend. So I was upset because he's filming a HBO. He's the filmmaker and the cinematographer, the camera guy for an HBO movie, and they film it every weekend. So this particular morning, he was gonna be on set from like, what was it, 11 to 11?
Like 11 to, the 11 to 12.
From 11 to 11. And so before he left the house, he was just like, all right, babe, I'm gonna go ahead. Then he's sending me pictures from the cute little kolache factory. He just stopped and got himself some coffee. I'm like, well, all right, what about me? What about my breakfast? He asked me. No, so I didn't want him to turn the car all the way around and bring me back a kolache, but I'm like, you planned out your whole day, what about me? That's how I felt. I felt like you left me out. I felt like you didn't put as much thought into your beautiful breakfast and you didn't think about me. That's how I felt. But babe, explain the logical side.
The logical side is I had to go film.
And it's just that simple.
I need to eat before I get there.
It wasn't him saying, I don't care about you or what you eat. It wasn't him saying, I'm gonna do all this for myself. That's just how I felt. Yeah. But that's anxious attachment. I'm used to, I just want him to think about me all the time. I want to be on your mind.
You always feel like you're included.
Exactly. But for him, I wasn't excluding you. This is just what I did
I'm on my way to work.
So learning things like that, because that could have been an argument.
About yourself,
yeah, that could have been a disagreement. That could have been an argument. That could have been a breakup. You don't care about me. You just care about yourself. You so selfish.
I thought that was being spoiled.
So, yeah, it could be too. It could be too.
Attention growing up,
I didn't get enough attention growing up.
and that just triggered over into your adulthood.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a part of the anxious attachment style. Now, avoidant is I don't talk to you about it. I don't say nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Write it off. Forget about it and move on.
Yeah.
So that's not me.
Be very passive aggressive.
Exactly. That's not me. So learning about the different things that we are dealing with to a higher level is going to give us a clearer roadmap of how to solve the problem. Because as black people, we want to cover it up in prayer. We
Yeah.
want to take it to the, and I'm not saying, you gotta pray. You have to take it to God. But faith without works is
Yes,
it's dead. So if we don't have a strategic way of figuring out how to break these patterns, they're going to keep happening, and we're going to keep these bags and keep holding these bags and not get nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about learning and researching what it is, and now you surround yourself with people who are going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
You have to surround yourself with people who are going to hold you accountable. We all got that one friend. Mine's is Becky. We all got that one friend who's going to look you in your face and say, B word, you messed up. And that's just how she, that's how she talk. We all got that one friend who's going to keep it real with us.
Yeah.
So whoever that one friend is, or those friends that you can trust that are not going to cater to you and not going to say, oh, it's okay, you fixing again, I get it, it's just who you are. No, the girl who's going to get in your face and say, baby, what you doing? I got your boundaries right here, you wrong, right? So we surround ourselves with people who are going to hold us accountable. You have to share that list of your boundaries. So if you have a list of 5 boundaries, no calls after 12 at night. I'm not limiting people no more than $50. Nobody can just come stay with me when things go wrong. They have to give me 30-day notice. That list, share it with those friends. So when that situation comes around, well, girl, Charlie done asked me for $300 to pay his car note. Right, but you said you wasn't giving nobody over $50. So what we doing? And you have to keep yourself accountable and have those friends to hold you accountable. So once you have that group of people holding you accountable, now you got to track your progress. How you doing? How are things going? And if things are not going the right way, then you might have to kick it up a notch and do some therapy. Because if you don't have the strength and the power to break your own patterns, you need some extra help to help you do that. Is that clear, y'all? Is that clear? Y'all want to do one more example before I get out of here?
Sure.
Of one more bag?
Yes.
All right, somebody share another one.
They're working out.
I love it. Health. That's a big bag for us as black women. This is the
Very big.
The health person here.
Very big.
and good, because I need.
She bikes, she cycles, she runs.
I love it.
Everything.
I love it. That's him too. Very health conscious and just a bit. So you will be my verifier, right? So I'm not lying. I'm not gonna be lying because one of my clients, her name is Kashandra Foreman. She is a specialist. Her company is called Sugar Mode Off, and she gets people unaddicted, if that's a word, to sugar, because that's one of the main killers of us is sugar. Sugar. Everything has sugar in it. So let's go back to health. The first step is always admitting we have an issue, right? So the first step is I'm unhealthy. Why am I unhealthy? Because I eat whatever I want and I don't work out and I'm stressed, right? So the first thing we do is write down the reason why we're going through what we're going through. So why am I unhealthy? Because X, Y, Z. Okay, cool. Now we say, what are the patterns? The same in that situation. We know what's going on. Let's get to the root. So the patterns are the root. Let's get to the root of it. So where is this coming from? Am I overeating when I'm stressed out? Am I starving myself because I'm at work all day and then I'm binging? Am I addicted to sugar? Am I not working out because I don't feel like it? Am I not, really get to the root, identify the patterns. Are you one of those people who like to be on the diets every time they come out? Well, I'm trying the keto diet this week, y'all. I'm trying the vegetarian diet this week, y'all. But we don't stay committed. So identifying the patterns. And now we need to place the team of support and accountability around us to just start getting us a little bit more aware of what's going on. So say for instance, every time you go past work, it's a Taco Bell, it's a Chick-fil-A, it's a McDonald's, it's a Whataburger.
All of those.
So what are we going to do when we get triggered? Who we gonna call? Do we have a coach? Can we call you? Or is that your boundaries? So what are we gonna do what triggers us? What are we gonna do when we craving that double fish fillet with extra tartar? Can I call somebody and say, look, talk me through it? Can I call my nutritionist or my coach or my fitness trainer or whatever? So start to build that team and put that team in place to help hold you accountable. The next thing is we gotta get to work. So what are we cutting out first? Are we cutting out sugar first? Are we cutting out overconsumption of meat? Are we increasing our water intake? So maybe start to do a food tracker for a week. A food tracker for 1 week. And Sean has one of those, actually. She has a food tracking journal where every day for a week, you are writing down or logging in the app exactly what you are eating every single day. And when you go back and look and you say, I had Whataburger for breakfast, I had Chick-fil-A for lunch, and I didn't eat dinner. Or I didn't eat breakfast, I didn't eat lunch, then I went to the all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet. You start to see what your patterns are, right? So once you figure out what your patterns are, now let's set some goals. Do I want to work out at least once a week? Do I want to increase my water intake by 2 cups a day? Do I want to lose 5 pounds by the first of the year? Goals, right? Goals. And then breaking each, well, first of all, we know SMART goals, right?
Yeah.
We all know what SMART goals are. What are SMART goals? What's the S?
Smart goals.
Yes. So it's SMART, SMART goals, the way we set goals. The S is specific.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we're not just saying, I want to lose weight. That's blanket. That's universal. Okay, I just want to lose 5 pounds. How? Specific gets you to the how. So I want to lose 5 pounds by September 31st using the keto diet or by hiring a fitness coach, right? And then what's the M? Measurable. Measurable. When we gonna get it done? I can measure this. If I say I just want to lose weight, how can you measure that? You can't measure that. But if I say I want to lose 5 pounds and I lose 8, I can measure that. If I say I want to lose 5 pounds, I only lose 2, I can measure that. What's the A? Attainable. We can say accountable. I like you. Put whatever A you want to put there. Attainable. Can you actually achieve this? So I just want to lose weight. Okay, that's not. It's attainable, but it's not helpful because it's like, okay, what am I doing? Or I want to lose 100 pounds in a week. Is that attainable?
No.
Not unless you on some Ozempic. Like, let's not. So, so attainable. 5 pounds by September 31st. Cool. And what's the R?
Realistic.
Yep, realistic. It goes with attainable. Can you actually achieve it? I want to drive to the moon tomorrow. Really? Do you? I want to gain 52 pounds by Wednesday. Like, no. So realistic. Be real about it. What can you really accomplish in this time span? And the T is time. So when we set SMART goals, it gives us a way to actually get things done realistically. Because I can sit here and say all day, I want to lose 20 pounds. How? So setting SMART goals. So how much weight do you want to lose? By when? Doing what? So setting those goals. And then finally, you've got to be consistent. You have to be consistent. And that's where that team of people comes in. If your goal is 5 pounds by September 31st, and September 31st come along, and your friend Laura is like, hey girl, let's hop on the scale, and you done gained 15, we got to start over. So we have to take consistent action. So the first thing is always, we're aware. We're not in denial anymore. I'm not walking around here saying, oh, I'm still 125 pounds, I'm still 125 pounds, and they got on the scale in years and weeks. So really being honest with yourself, being aware of what's going on. The second thing is writing down how we got here, identifying the patterns. What have you been doing wrong all these years? Where have you been erroneous all these years to get you to the point where you are now? The third thing is starting to set a group of people around you that are really going to hold you accountable. The fourth thing is planning, goal setting, and then taking action. So with all the bags that you have in your life, it's going to look the same in every situation pretty much. If you are walking around acting like nothing is wrong, that's not going to help you release the bags. You're just going to be walking around like this, telling yourself everything is fine, but we all looking at you like, no, it's not, sis. The second thing is we have to do some psychological work. We got to do some, not just spiritual. Everything is not spiritual all the time. Spirituality is a part of it, but spirituality, praying and begging God to change you, you got to do some work too. It's a two-way street. You can't expect God to do everything. So having those people to hold you accountable and then starting to plan what you're going to do. And then I was going to get to the psychology of what's going on. Because a lot of us have things that we can't even identify. We don't even know what it is. What are the numbers for high cholesterol? What are the numbers for high blood sugar? What are the numbers for high blood pressure? Do we know? Do some research about the things that are going on with you so that you can identify it and you can have the vocabulary. Stop letting these doctors diagnose you. Diagnose yourself first.
Yeah.
Diagnose yourself first. What's going on with me? I didn't have to go see a therapist and pay her $6,000 an hour to know that I have anxious attachment disorder. YouTube University for free. So, so get to know within yourself what's going on with yourself. Take some time to do your own research. It's out there. There's nothing in the world that you have a question and the world can't answer, especially with ChatGPT. It'll write you a whole essay about what's going on with you. So really get into the psychology of what's going on. Build that team of people around you who are going to hold you accountable. And the biggest thing is planning and action. Because if you don't have a plan, how are you going to get from A to B? If you don't know what steps you're going to take to get to your ultimate goal, how you going to get there? If you don't know how to lose weight, how you going to lose weight? If you don't know how much weight you want to lose, how is it going to work? We have to stop talking and we have to stop waiting and we have to start doing. We have to take ownership and accountability for our own health and for our own lives. Because yes, we are superwomen. Yes, we can do a lot. Yes, we can carry a lot of bags, but just because you can, don't mean you should.
Yeah.
Just because you can hold 16 bags on each hand, it doesn't mean you should. So how do you release the bags? What's step one? Somebody wrote it down. Awareness. Then what?
And then you
Write it
understand
down.
what to do.
Understand what to do. Then what?
And then you identify the pattern.
Identify the patterns. Then what?
Figure out your triggers and eliminate. You create your own boundaries.
When you create
Triggers.
Yep. Go ahead.
You create boundaries and you get an accountability team. You do your research and you take into plan your actions. You plan it and then you put forth the work and work on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll close with this example. I'll use my anxious attachment for an example. As Black women in relationships, a lot of times we are taught to dominate our men. We are taught to not need or rely or depend on our men. We are taught that they are dispensable, or I don't really need you. Why are you here? So going into a relationship with that mentality is doomed for, I'm not gonna say it's doomed for failure, but it's doomed for some conflict. Because over the years, since we've had to do so much, it's kind of shifted our perspective on relationships. A lot of us don't even prioritize relationships no more. And in the Bible, it says it's not good for man to be alone. But we don't prioritize relationships because we've been taught and conditioned that we can do it on our own. We can do it by ourselves. So I had to get to an understanding of what is it about this male-female dynamic that I'm getting wrong. One thing was the combativeness. The combativeness. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm educated, you don't have a degree. I make money with my speaking engagements, you work at an oil field. What can you tell me? That's not gonna work. So I had to really read a couple of books, read some news articles, read some blogs on how to speak life into a Black man and how to understand what he needs so that he can pour into me. I had to understand what is the true dynamic of a healthy male and female in the Black community relationship. One thing I understand that men need more than water, food, and air. What is that?
Attention?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Let's go there. Let's go there. Nope. No, they need space.
I need to know the answer.
Baby, you see, you hear this? We don't know.
Really don't know.
Respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Okay.
Respect. Respect. How do you respect a man? By letting him lead.
Yeah.
But if you choose the wrong one, and you choose the wrong man who don't know how to lead, or he's used to a man leading, or he's used to a woman leading, or if he's not right within himself, that's where we go all wrong. And that was one of my issues. I haven't even gotten to know this man enough to see if he's a leader or not. And when I say lead, I don't mean stay in the back seat. I don't mean you shut up. You know, so submission is understanding that you have power, but understanding that the other person has power as well, and you just turn yours off a little bit. You got it, baby. You got it. Because he's not here like, no, you need to stand there, or move here, or move there. He letting me be free and be me. Ain't stopped me one time and said, no, don't you say that. But it's a dynamic of understanding what these men need, and what they need is respect. So respect is, if he's driving, let him drive. Don't be in the passenger side, well, you need to go this way, and you need to go that way. And if he needs to veer in a different direction, it's your tone, it's your delivery. How are you talking to this man? How are you explaining it? I'm not gonna be like, you stupid, you missed the turn, dummy. Let's go that way, idiot. Turn off your GPS, I got it. I'm be like, babe, did you mean to turn left right here? You know, I think it was over there. So it's about your approach. How would you want somebody talking to you? Would you want somebody belittling you or making you feel bad? So the way you talk to him, the way you show up for him, do you support what he wants to do? Do you support his dreams? Do you make him feel good about himself? Do you compliment him when he smells good? And you smell good today, baby, you look good too. Do you make him feel like he's a man? Yeah. Let's go back to the groceries. If I go to H-E-B and he's at the house, I go to H-E-B, I pull up. Am I just getting everything out the car and bringing it upstairs like, or am I saying, I could get all the bags out the car, I could, but let me call him and say, hey, babe, can you help me?
Yeah.
That makes a man feel good. Am I lying, babe? That makes a man feel good. Let me help you. I'm here to help you, not hurt you. Give him a chance.
So you release the bags to him.
Exactly. So respect. I understand that men need respect. I had to learn that because my mama was the head honcho. She was the big kahuna. If you come in her house, it's her rules. It's under. She's the money maker. She's the protector. She's the provider. And if you don't want to follow those rules, get out. But that's not how it works if you want to have a sustainable, healthy relationship.
Yeah.
The second thing I learned about relationships was communication.
Yes.
Communication. A lot of times we hold it in, and I'm still working on that. We'll hold it in so much, and we won't say what's really going on because we don't know how to express it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
We don't know how to say it without yelling, or without sounding toxic, or without spewing venom. So learning how to communicate. In my previous relationships, the person I was with would talk to a strange lady at the mall better than you would talk to me. No. The person that you sleep with every night, the person that's waking up next to you, the person that you're doing life with from Monday to Sunday, that's the person who you communicate the kindest with, not Miss Susie who failed and now you're like, oh, Miss Susie, oh, are you okay, are you okay? And at home you like, shut up and get out of my face. So respect and communication. And the final thing I learned in relationship was to not get lost in them. I used to get lost in my relationships. I used to put everything I wanted to do on the back burner. I used to make it all about that person. I used to like want to merge myself with that person. That's anxious attachment. That's not healthy. If you are in a relationship with a man, and I'm not a marriage counselor, so if this is going on in your marriage, disregard. But if you are with somebody who's not letting you be yourself, who's not letting you walk in your God-given gifts, talents, and purpose, if you're with someone who's not supporting you in your ventures and your ideas and supporting your dreams, I don't know how long it's gonna work out for you. So the reason why I shared that story is because releasing those bags for me has helped me to enter into a healthy relationship. It helps me to understand that I can do this, that this can work, that hey, I had 2 practice marriages and that's okay, because the last one, I'm gonna get it right. I may have struck out a couple times, but I ain't gonna be no strike 3. On the 3rd hit, I'm gonna hit a home run. So whatever it is that you're going through in your life, whatever bags you are holding on to, I've given you a couple of steps for you to start to release those bags. And once you release those bags, it's going to help you blossom in so many areas of your life, because depression will bog you down just like all the bags in your hand. It will make it hard for you to fly. It'll make it hard for you to spread your wings. We have to stop just talking and stop putting everything on God. He don't want all your bags. He's giving you solutions to put them down so that you're not constantly saying, God, please, God, please, God, please. He's like, okay, now what you doing?
Yeah.
So make sure you're just not talking about it. You actually have a plan of action to get rid of them bags and to keep them on the ground or at the store or in the trunk so that they're not holding you down. Any questions, any comments? That's all I got.
Good information.